Hey, y'all. How y'all doing today? Happy beautiful day to you. It's December 30th, y'all. I'm so excited. Listen, y'all, I'm going to get into our conversation. But first, do y'all know that today is like 350 something that I've gone live every single day straight. Every single day straight. Let me ask y'all something. How many of you all have gone live or done anything beyond like waking up, taking a shower, or taking care of your children? Like, what have you committed to outside of the things that are your habits, that are your standard everyday must do type activities? What have you ever committed to doing every single day for 365 days straight? Have you created any habits that do that? I'm gonna tell y'all something before I get into this topic, because I know some of you are maybe like, why is she always talking about forgiveness? Let me tell y'all something. Forgiveness pays, and it pays real money. You guys see me here and maybe you're like, oh, why is she? Listen, people are always in my DM. And guess what? People are in my DM ready, prepared, happy, excited, grateful to pay me for my services to help them get unstuck. See, when you decide to show up every single day for yourself, for something, people see you. They notice you, because when you're consistent, they will keep coming to you. So some of y'all are like, I'm not going to go live because nobody responded. Not enough people are watching. Do you consistently, and you will be amazed at what comes out of it. Just be consistent with you. Today, somebody was in my DM, $2,000. One client, very quickly. I'm not even advertising at this moment or selling. I'm always selling products, but she reached out to me in my DM. That's a $2,000 client. Why? Because I'm consistent in what I do. You guys, be consistent in what you do. Back to today's topic. Today's conversation is about the fact that forgiveness allows you to stop seeking validation from people. What do I mean by that? I'm so rude. I ain't even introduced myself. Hey, everybody. It's me, Tanisha O. And welcome to Tea with Tanisha O. I'm Tanisha OKK. I am the creator of the Forgiveness Lifestyle Movement, and I'm a forgiveness coach. I teach people how to find their emotional blind spots, how to get unstuck, how to secure the bag, how to build stronger relationships, how to get clear on what it is that they want and they're looking for. Because listen, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell y'all a secret. Any and every problem that you have in your life right now, listen to me. Any and every problem that you have in your life right now is linked to unforgiveness. Think of everything that's happening. It has something to do with unforgiveness. If you get to the root cause of that unforgiveness, I promise you will break free. You haven't forgiven yourself for mistakes. You haven't forgiven somebody else for the things that they did. They left you. They hurt you. They abandoned you. It's all stemming from unforgiveness. Even the issues you're having on your job, the issues that you're having on building clients, building your business, it all stems from unforgiveness. So I learned something. They said, you want to make $1 billion? Find something that 1 billion people need, and everybody needs forgiveness. And so that's why I'll always be wealthy. Stay consistent in whatever your thing is, no matter how popular it may seem. Forgiveness is not a popular topic, but it's a very necessary conversation. So listen, y'all. Forgiveness allows you to stop seeking validation. This is what I mean by that. You know, when you have unforgiveness, when you've been hurt, when you've been betrayed, when somebody has turned their back on you, or they've abandoned you, rejected you, all those things, when you are holding on to unforgiveness, you are waiting for their apology. You are waiting for them to come back to say that they did you wrong. You're waiting on something from them. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Even though they say, I'm sorry, it doesn't make the pain go away. It doesn't make the sting any less. It doesn't make anything any better. The apology, sometimes it feels nice, but then sometimes you find yourself questioning, did they really mean that they were sorry? Do they really care? You know, you have all these things that are going on in your mind. And so you cannot continue your life waiting for the validation or the approval of someone else in order for you to move on. It is a decision that you get to make to say, you know what? I'm moving on, period. Whether we remain friends, whether we don't. Whether we grow through this moment or we don't, you get to make a decision that you are going to heal. You are going to move forward regardless of what happens around you. That's how you take your power back. Waiting on that moment for someone to make you feel warm and fuzzy inside, how does that work? It actually doesn't work, because a lot of times, even when people say I'm sorry, it's impossible for them to truly understand the core depth of your pain. Why? Because your pain hits a little different. And a lot of times there are situations where you are hurting and you can't even figure out, gosh, why am I so upset about this? Like, why can't I let this go? And everybody may be telling you, just let it go, leave it alone. But there are some scars and some things inside of you. There's pain that you've probably suppressed. There are situations that you've probably ignored. And so this current situation is now smashing down on that pain that was already there. It's tender already. If you have a bruise and somebody presses down on it, it hurts. It hurts even more if there wasn't a bruise. And that's why the offenses and the things that have happened hurt that much more, because that spot is tender. And here's the deal. You keep going through life thinking if you just ignore it, no one else notices. Everybody notices, because when you're triggered, you lose your stuff. You lose it. You go off on everybody, or you isolate or seclude yourself. People see it, even if you don't want to talk about it. Just because you don't discuss it doesn't mean that it never happened. Just because you don't acknowledge it doesn't mean that people don't see it. And that's why it's so important for you to make a decision to say, I'm taking my power back. You are taking your power back to forgive, so that you are no longer attached to the opinions, the approval, the acceptance of anyone else. You're saying, no, effective immediately today. Serve and notice that effective immediately. Forgiveness is a gift that I'm giving myself. If all of y'all want to go ahead and stay in this bitter place, in this angry space or whatever, let them. But you get to grow through it. Now, here's the deal. This does not mean that you need to send out a public service announcement to anyone to say, hey, y'all, I'm moving on. It's a decision that you make on the inside of you. It's a conscious decision that you make, and then you put it into action. Some of the best things that happen in life are done in silence. Some of the best things that happen in life. Imagine one thing or two things that you've ever done in your life, and you waited for everybody else, and then you said, forget it, I'm just going to do it on my own. And look at how successful you were, right? Have you guys heard the movie Queen's Gambit? Have you guys seen that movie, Queen's Gambit? It's on Netflix. It's dope. It's a whole series. It's really, really good. I just read a thing today that 62 million people watched that movie. Stay with me for a second. 62 million people wrote that movie. I think it said that it took the man who wrote the movie 9 years to write the movie. And I believe they said it was like he had like 8 rewrites, okay, of this movie. I may not be getting the facts right, but I'm close. 8 rewrites of the movie. He took it to 12 or some odd huge number. Hey, good morning. Good evening. Sorry, good morning. Different producers, and they all turned them down. They turned them down, and they said that no one would be interested in watching a movie about chess. But he stuck to it. 62 million people have watched that series. And it's a dope series if you haven't seen it. My moral to the story is everyone doesn't have to see your vision. But if he took all the no's, and if he, after year 1, gave up on it, or year 2, quit on it, or year 3, I mean, by year 7, most people would be like, forget it. This is just not even going to work. But he stuck to it. And look at the reward. And so I'm asking some of you, yes, we are entering into 2021, but my question to you is, what is it that you have started, but you feel like 5 years has passed and maybe it's not that serious, or maybe you don't really need to continue doing it? Good evening, good evening, good evening, Omeka, good evening, Latanya and Kim, good evening. And so what if you just quit? I want you to take a moment, because some of y'all are praying to God right now, like, Lord, show me the way. Lord, show me what I need to be doing in 2020 as I move forward. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of things that are happening in your life. And you're like, should I take this new job? Should I stick with this entrepreneurial journey? Should I do something else? And here's the deal. It's so important for us to quiet ourselves and go back to the basics. Like whatever God told you to do 2 or 3 years ago, do that, because you haven't finished that. And so that man who wrote Queen's Gambit took 8 years. He probably stepped away from the project at times. I'm assuming. I haven't seen that part of it, and came back to it, but he kept coming back to it. And so for you, there's something that's on your heart. There's something that's itching, something that's burning, burning a hole in you. Like, you got to do it. You got to do it. And you're like, no, I've put too much time into it. Don't quit. If that thing, whatever it is, has a yearning, a burning sensation on the inside of you, even if nobody else understands, keep pushing forward. Take a moment as we prepare. I don't know if y'all have seen my stories, but I'm writing a book, right? Book will be released next year, Q1 of next year. But I haven't finished the book, and I have to finish this book by tomorrow, midnight tomorrow. Okay, when the ball is dropping, I need to be stepping away from my computer saying that my book is finished. Okay, but why does the book have to be finished tomorrow by midnight? Because it was a commitment that I made to myself that in 2020 I would finish this book. And so I'm finishing my book as a commitment to myself, no one else, to me. That's a commitment that I made. You've made a commitment to you. You've done the same. So you need to stick to that thing. Anyway, back to the thing. So we make these commitments. We do all these things to ourselves, and we step away from whatever it is. And then we wonder why nothing is happening. Listen, some of you need to be, this is me speaking to myself right now. I had to silence myself. It's the end of the year. There are tons of things that people are selling to kick off the new year. And there's all these things that people are doing in their businesses. But God told me, I need you to just be quiet. And I was like, okay. He said, for 2 weeks straight. So I've cleared, no more clients. I don't have any clients that I'm meeting one-on-one at this time. For 2 weeks, I'm kind of on a break, right? So I'm working on my business. On my business, meaning I'm creating content, putting things on the back end together properly, all these things. But what does that mean? That means that I'm not actively promoting or selling anything. You guys can find my links to purchase things, but I'm not doing any of those things. So I was like, well, how do you generate money? Like, right? Like, you keep selling by staying in front of people, emailing them, calling, whatever it is you do. Do you know today, I think I mentioned it earlier, today, somebody just jumped in my DM real fast. Hey, I need some one-on-one coaching. All right, that's $2,000 because I just show up and I'm consistent in what I do. Are you consistent in what you do is my question to you. Do you show up every single day? I said it earlier in the video. Today is like day 350 something that I've come before you guys live talking about forgiveness every single day consistently. What have you done? Because you're asking God to open up the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing on you. You're asking God to do all these things for you. But my question to you is, what have you done consistently to work towards that thing that you're praying for the most? How have you shown up consistently in order to show God, like, hey, I'm a good steward. This is what I want. What have you done consistently? And when I say consistently, I'm not talking about 30 days, 60 days. If some of you guys know Tabitha Brown, it's been beautiful watching her journey, right? Where she cooks, and a lot of y'all are like, oh, she makes it look so easy. But I saw a video of hers that she was like, what if you had a dream and God was like, yep, your dream is going to come true, but you're going to have to wait 22 years for it. Are y'all that committed to wait that time to get whatever it is you want? And see, that's where forgiveness and seeking the validation and the approval of others all comes together. Because see, when you forgive yourself, when you're at peace with wherever you are in life, when you acknowledge that you may not be where you want to be, you're not where you were, but you acknowledge all the mistakes, you've accepted them, you still know that you are a work in progress, you are perfectly imperfect. When you take all those things into consideration and you still keep moving forward for yourself, not waiting for everybody else to approve of you, not waiting for everybody else to validate you, not waiting for everybody else to give you the permission for you to be authentically you, for you to be unapologetically, perfectly, wonderfully a mess and a masterpiece at the same time. Like, do you understand what I mean? You don't need anybody else's validation. You don't need anybody else's approval. And the faster you forgive yourself for all of the mistakes, for all the things you didn't get right, for shrinking, for those times you didn't speak up, for those relationships that you stayed in a little bit too long, for that job that you stayed at way too long, for not getting it perfect as a mother, for not being the perfect daughter, for the mistakes that you made with men, whatever the case may be, the moment that you forgive you, you no longer need the validation or approval for somebody else to say you're worthy. God called you worthy. If you're still breathing, if you're hearing my voice right now, you have a job, you have a mission, you have something that you get to add to this beautiful life that you've been given. There's something to add. Take advantage of it. And I'm not saying this because we're going into 2021. Yes, I'm gifted. I'm grateful that we're all here to see 2021. I'm saying this because you've spent so much time waiting for the validation and approval of everyone else, and you're missing out on your opportunity to shine your light, to be great, to be unapologetically brilliant in all that you do. It's your time. It's your time in 2020 to start what you're going to do in 2021. I didn't finish my book, which will be finished by tomorrow. Okay, hear me. That's my commitment. That book will be finished by tomorrow, because I will finish my book in 2020. Instead of me saying, I'll just put it off in 2021. No, it was a commitment and a goal that I made this year. So some of you all, take a moment to look at the goals that you set for 2020. What were some of the things that you said? And you may not be able to finish all of them in 2020, but you can do something. Some of y'all said you were going to start your company. Well, go online and figure out what you need to do so that tomorrow or tonight you go ahead and register for that LLC. Do some of the things that you said that you promised that you were going to do. Get it done. Some of y'all said that you were going to restore relationships with some people in your life, and you haven't. You haven't picked up the phone to call them. You haven't attempted to do something different. Do it. Don't put it off. Tomorrow's not promised. We hear that all the time, but allow your word to yourself be the most important thing. Keep your word to yourself. I committed that I was going to write a book in 2020. I have to keep my word to myself. Listen, y'all, at this point in the game, if that book is a 30-page pamphlet that is going to be published through Amazon, it's going to be a 30-page pamphlet. It's not going to be a 30-page pamphlet. But my point is, I'm keeping my word to myself. You get to keep your word to yourself. Do not seek the validation or approval of anybody else. Just do it. For some of y'all, it might be important for you just to do something and not talk about it, and just do it. And then when people see it done, they're like, oh, okay. Some of y'all need to do that. Let's see. Tanya says, that's me. I'm working on forgiving myself for so many things in my life. It's like I'm empty, but I'm working on it. I'm here for you, Queen. I've been there. You are more than welcome to message me. Both of you can message me. I have all kind of master classes that are totally affordable. As a matter of fact, spoiler alert, Forgiveness Lifestyle University will be starting in the beginning of January. Which is one of the things that I'm working on. Forgiveness Lifestyle University will be dope, completely epic. But there are things that I have in place. I know exactly how you feel, what it's like to be stuck and feel empty and feel lost and feel like where do I begin? Sometimes you feel like you've messed up so much of your life that you just want to throw it all away and start over. No, you don't have to do that. You or Emeka, you don't have to throw any of it away, because all of the things that you've done, my love, is what's made you who you are today. And all of those things are the gifts that you will be able to heal and grow through in order to support other people in their journey as well. It's not by chance. It doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a human person. And every single person, all of us have a story. All of us have done things that we're like, oh, Lord, that's not my best day. Many of us are happy that cameras were not rolling at all times with all of the shenanigans, and things of that nature. But just give yourself that grace, Queen. Give yourself the grace. I'll drop the link when I'm finished talking on this live for you guys to look into getting yourself into some of the master classes that I have, and enrolling into Forgiveness Lifestyle University once it's open. It's not open yet, so you won't even find anything about it. I'm giving y'all an inside scoop right now. But It's time, once you forgive you, you no longer need the validation or approval. I don't worry myself if a family member wants to tell me about, well, you know how you used to be, you know what you used to do, because I get to say, I sure do know. And I'm so grateful that I've grown from that place. And I'm so glad that I've moved on from that place. Because see, you can't tell me about me. I know me. I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. I know the areas that I've grown through and I know the areas that I'm moving through. And the moment that you take your power back and no longer allow people to dangle your past over your head and you just say, I forgave me. You get to forgive you, queens, even if the other person refuses to forgive you. You do not have to be held hostage. You don't have to stay back there and wait for them to control all of your life, because they aren't ready to forgive you or move forward or grow. That's okay. That's their business. And I'm not telling you that it doesn't hurt. I'm not telling you that it's not tough. I am telling you that you still get to heal and you still get to give yourself the gift of forgiveness to grow through, to move through, and to keep proceeding forward in life. There are so many things that I've done that I just didn't get right. And I had to come back to work through it with my children. I had to work through it with my spouse. I had to work through it with myself first, and even get a clear understanding of like what was hurting me the most. Why was I so upset? What were my trigger points? What were the things that were happening that triggered me? And why was I triggered by these things? These are all the things that will help you get to the core of what's really happening inside of you. And so just begin to process your emotions the same way your body heals from a cut, right? You cut your finger, it heals. You don't have to put any energy towards it. It just heals. So your body knows, put everything here so this finger can heal. Well, your emotional insides are the same way. When things happen and you're triggered, your body is working to heal itself. It's telling you there's a problem. It's kind of like that intuition when you're like, there's a problem. You know, it's telling you there's a problem. It's telling you what's hurting. That's why things are bothering you so much. The problem is that all the people around you will tell you, it's not that serious. You don't have to be upset. You taking it too much. You don't take all of that. They don't get to tell you what your triggers are. They don't know the pain that you're feeling. They don't know it. They can't feel it, but your body is telling you, hey, I need you to pay a little bit of attention to me. So at this moment, queens, instead of ignoring whatever it is you're feeling, take a moment to lean in a little bit. If you're feeling really sensitive about something, or if something is a tender area for you, pause to really explore, what is this about? Don't just say, I always get too emotional. No. Pause and listen to your body as it's telling you what's bothering you. And when you lean in to listen to what's on the inside of you, what's happening, you don't wait for the validation of anyone else. You don't wait for the approval of anybody else. You can't expect anyone else to understand why you feel how you feel. You can't expect them to understand why that one thing hurts you so much more than it hurts somebody else. You can't expect them to understand, even if it's a sister or a brother or a cousin or a mother or anyone else who grew up in the house with you, because your experiences of life is different, even though other people may have seemingly experienced the exact same thing as you. You are different. And therefore, things impact you differently. And so the moment that you allow yourself to feel how you feel, you validate your pain. You validate what you're struggling with. You validate your emotions and not wait for anyone else. That's where the forgiveness journey really begins to open up and life begins to shift differently, because you have said to yourself, I know you're hurting. This is you speaking to yourself. I know you're hurting. Almost picture a mirror, and I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to love you through this. I'm going to have the grace to work with you through this, and together we're going to get through this. It's almost like you step outside of yourself to talk to yourself. And so when the hard times hit and people remind you of who you are, and they try to tell you this and they try to tell you, they remind you of all the things you did in the past, your voice reigns supreme. that love and that gentleness and that connection and that conversation that you have begun to build within yourself, that self-talk that builds the trust and it builds the connection between you and your inner being, you're unstoppable. You are absolutely unstoppable. Some people may see it as cocky and all this. No, it's just you understanding who you are and no longer allowing other people to define you through their eyes. You get to decide who you are and how you show up. I absolutely love y'all so much. I will drop the link for you to join some of my master classes until Forgiveness Lifestyle University is up and enrolling students into it. I'll drop the masterclass in there. I love y'all. If you need me for anything, you're always welcome to DM me. I'm going to go finish writing this book that I just told y'all about. If you need me, you know where to find me. I love you. I love you. I love you. Be gentle with yourself. Give yourself the grace to continue to grow. And I'm going to see y'all soon. Continue to forgive, heal, and grow with who? Your girl, Tanisha. Oh, ciao. You're welcome, Emeka. You're welcome. Ciao, y'all.